Thirdphaseofmoon.
One of the most astonishing admissions recently by the Pentagon, openly admitting that they're investigating the UFO phenomenon, has opened it up wide open. And now Anthony Bragalia, via Jaime Maussan, has come out for the first time to speak to Jaime in regards to the information that he's received from the Pentagon via his FOIA request. Over 150 documents reveal that the Pentagon has in its possession metamaterials. What is this all about? Jaime has recently reached out to me, and it was amazing when he did, that he wanted to share this incredible interview that he had with Anthony for the first time right here at Third Phase of Moon.
What they have done is that these reports are indeed of advanced aeronautical metals and materials for use in traversing space. But their inspiration, their impetus, is extraterrestrial. It is based on retrieved UFO debris. What they've done, Jaime, is they have seamlessly integrated the technology transfer of these materials from the black world into the open under the cover of military applications. And I think that over the decades, many scientists have been involved in these top secret materials projects.
UFO aerial phenomenon investigator Anthony Bragalia received over 150 documents, but it seems now that the Pentagon, for some reason, has changed its story in regards to this metamaterial. Why has the Pentagon changed its story? Is it a matter of national security, or is there some kind of cover-up in regards to this incredible technology within the Pentagon's assets?
Probably you should publish all the documents to be safe.
Yes, I agree with you. So, at this point, I'm a bit of a standstill in that the Pentagon simply isn't responding to my emails. I would like to leave messages with the Pentagon. Unfortunately, I would not be able to record their responses, which is why I want a written documentation back from them in the form of an email.
I find it interesting. There's a connection between Roswell and the crash and this memory metal. We remember the days when Jesse Marcel talked about this metal, this material that he took to his son, Marcel Jr. He displayed this metal on the kitchen table, and he said that he could squeeze it and then it would retract and then go back to its original form. This is what the Pentagon has admitted to. They say there's a similarity to this memory metal. And wouldn't it be awesome to see this now for the first time, kind of representing and confirming that there was something that actually happened in 1947 in Roswell?
And within the article that I wrote on this was the mention of UFO material, which, if recovered, would be stored in what they called specially modified facilities by a private defense contractor called Bigelow Aerospace in Nevada. And this kind of buried mention of the UFO material within the Times article got me to initiate a Freedom of Information Act request, or FOIA.
In this phone interview with Anthony Bragalia and discussing the Pentagon papers that he received is a lot of interesting things. But I think many of us in the community have known for a long time that because of compartmentalizing the military with all their departments, so no one could have the full scale of a certain project. They would get little pieces of it and they'd work on it, and then someone else would come along and put those pieces together, and then you have, spy craft and whatnot. So he discusses in this interview how they did it very artistically, as he said, the manipulation of taking alien technology and Air Force technology and bending them into one another, folding them into each other.
Well, lo and behold, when I received the technical reports from the Pentagon, part of them related to memory metal. But this time they're looking at the ways in which to incorporate memory metal into the human body. For instance, for use in dental material or for heart stents, things like that. So what I think they're trying to do, Jaime, is to blend in the research from ET-inspired material and do a technology transfer and bring it from the black world into the wide open.
As the legend and folklore go about Roswell saying fiber optics, Velcro, flat screens, all that stuff came from that crash supposedly and that technology. And then we have something that we've actually reported on here at Third Phase of Moon just recently, where Russia had a private space company or an aeronautical company that designed this tic-tac vehicle that could house two people plus their luggage and fly them around the city and land in a parking spot. Now, the engine of that, they haven't released yet. They've applied for patent. So I mentioned even then, what if this was a way of desensitizing the public to this technology?
It means that they knew they were releasing this information to you. They knew you were talking about this phenomena and the profound meaning of releasing this information.
Absolutely, and the material that I received, again, was 150 pages of highly technical reports, and one of the reports was on what we call memory metal.
Well, this is another amazing story. It's been out for a little bit, but Jaime Maussan digs deep with Anthony Bragalia about this FOIA request that he made about getting UFO debris. And this entire FOIA request is filled with goodies in it, this interview as well. But I wanted to talk about one of the nuggets in here that was real interesting about this metal that can, reflect, and increase light absorption, which means, according to Bragalia, that they can go in and out of visibility, cloak themselves, be invisible.
The way that they've been doing it is very artful. They've been able to do this technology transfer by confusing things. What they're doing is they're taking aerospace metals research and extraterrestrial metals research and folding it in and making it very difficult for people to understand the impetus of the research.
We have that kind of technology already. It's not like we don't, but imagine getting it from an alien technology, or maybe that's where it came from. I didn't even think of that until now. That's probably where they got the back-engineered ideas from, that metal, that debris. I hope it's that. I hope that we do have these metals that can cloak vehicles. I mean, it would be really interesting to see how that technology would be given to the public. Matter of fact, it might not. I don't know if that would be a safe thing.
Now they're saying that these materials relate to advanced military weapons. Both could be true. It is very possible that what they have done is that these reports are indeed of advanced aeronautical metals and materials for use in traversing space, but their inspiration, their impetus, is extraterrestrial.
What's incredible, if you ask me, in regards to Anthony's work into this study and the information that he's receiving, is it's the first time he's actually come on to an interview to explain his side of the story. He doesn't want any money, fame, he just wants answers. And it's interesting to note that he's not revealing exactly what profession he's in, but he has these documents within his possession, and Jaime has advised Anthony to release the paperwork as fast as possible for his safety.
Wow, what an absolutely brilliant interview with Jaime Maussan and Tony Bragalia, discussing the documents that Tony received through a FOIA request. It's quite amazing what we can actually garner when we just ask. I guess. It's interesting. But one of the things that really caught my ear early on is when Tony was talking about materials that slow and stop light entirely, saying that there is a possibility that we do have this already. In addition, he mentioned some materials that reflect light in such a way that it creates the illusion of something being invisible. Now, we've seen this in smaller scales. I think with it was a blanket that reflected light. and the military was using this to pull over and cover, and they were using that. But to me, when I saw it, it looked great, but it wasn't perfect. And I'm sure what they're working on behind the scenes probably is much closer to what we would imagine in our fantasies.
But I can tell you that some of the material that I received does relate to metals and other types of materials that not only have memory metal capability, but also some of these materials can be used to slow down light and even bring light to a complete standstill. And some of the material, it seems, is able to refract, reflect, and increase light absorption to create invisibility. And we know that many of these UFOs can come in and out of sight and out of view and have the ability to become invisible.
That being said, I also thought it was interesting that we can use some of these materials in such a way that we can compress electromagnetic energy and use that in the way of data or energy storage by reducing volume. That blows my mind. I mean, things keep getting smaller and smaller as we've seen through the years, and information is stored on, a minuscule bit of material compared to what it was 20, 30 years ago.
I like the way Jaime asked Anthony, do you feel for your safety? Are you threatened? And he says, you know what? I'm not really afraid of what the Pentagon or the government will do to him. In fact, he's releasing these documents, and the faster he does, I believe, it's going to kind of put him in more of a safer place. When you get that information out, you just can't stop it. So when it's exposed, the truth will set you free.
He mentions that the people, they're lying to us. I mean, they're letting things out, but they're telling us it's something that it's not. And that is basically the MO of a lot of government agencies. So I've been saying it for years, that the truth that is out there, you will find in movies, books, folklore, history. It's there. It's there. The truth is out there. It's whether or not you decide to see it.
They're taking aerospace metals research and extraterrestrial metals research and folding it in and making it very difficult for people to understand the impetus of the research.
Well, it means now that they recover parts of UFOs in crashes. It means that they know much more about this than just flying objects.
People could use it for nefarious things. If you make yourself invisible, you can just walk into a bank and just, rob the bank or spy on people and all sorts of other things. So there's good and there's bad. But these documents, this FOIA request that Bergalia got, it's pretty amazing if you take it for what it is. And he'll be getting more information, more documents as they probably come in. I don't know if he got everything. But there's a lot of talk about technology and debris and other things, and other things are missing, like where did they get it, where did they find it. So there are some things that, I have questions on, but that's ufology. We have questions about everything and everything. So take it for what it is. They're talking about UFO technology that can make you invisible or an object invisible. And that is pretty amazing. And I wonder if that's where we got it from. Maybe we did get it from aliens. Think about that for a moment.
It does appear, Jaime, that the Pentagon is now backpedaling. Very recently, a Pentagon spokesperson named Sue Goff has released a statement that the information that I received relates to aeronautical metals research for defense applications.
And now the Pentagon is kind of retracting what they said. In the first place, they were kind of admitting they were in possession of alien materials that they were studying. Now they're kind of saying it's more of a military study, kind of this inside job just done by the government and having nothing to do with an extraterrestrial intervention. Are these metals made from us personally, our scientists, or is this coming from some back-engineered alien technology? I believe it is.
Now, the last thing that I'm going to mention here is that Tony thought that we might be blending extraterrestrial material that we have with existing research on materials that we have been working on ourselves. Now, the question is, did we get some of those from the back engineering of the crafts that were recovered in various crashes, or were we given that information directly?
The explosive information that Jaime Maussan has gained in regards to this incredible interview can be watched on his channel. We're so happy that Jaime was able to give us some clips to share on Third Phase of Moon, but I urge everybody out there to go check out the entire interview on Jaime Maussan's interview with Anthony Bagaglia. The link is below. It's pretty interesting. The time is right. Is it possible that the Pentagon in the next 100 days will release this material, this metamaterial to the public? We'll wait and see.
I think it's terrifying. I mean, this seems potentially like one of the biggest stories of my lifetime. And I don't care if it's about UFOs or whatever you call it. Something that we don't understand is getting very close to our military aircraft.
The technologies related to energy generation should come out first.
This hybrid aerospace underwater craft is able to basically generate an electromagnetic field.
It is President Trump's belief that the United States must remain as dominant in space as we are on land and sea and the air. And your charge is to see to that mission with the United States Space Force.
There were 3 people on my team assassinated, and I was almost killed.
With a lot of people that would like to know what's going on.
It's a matter of national security.
But apparently, just recovered are off-world vehicles not made on this Earth.
The president will respond to the subject the way they want them to. There's a black box with all the technologies that would give us a civilization that's sustainable, peaceful, etc., and that's been around for decades.
Everybody's asking the biggest question in the world. Are we alone?
Look, it's just stalled out there.
The narrative that's being launched, which is a false narrative, is that we're not alone and that those civilizations are a threat. The problem is that the public has to be informed and involved.
It could be a brief statement saying, hallelujah, I'm finally vindicated.
I'm not completely convinced they're going to let this stay like it is.
But the people who are surrounding that level of our politicians and government are not told. Like the movie Independence Day, where Will say, let's go kick alien butt.